in. We're going to double check a couple of things housekeeping wise.
Okay.
And then we'll.
Okay, well, I'll go ahead and start the video then.
Hi, my name is Dr. Melanie Bishop. I'm the Dean of the Education Division here at Missouri Baptist University. Thank you guys so much for choosing MBU. We do a really good job of preparing effective educators to go out and be ready day one, to be great teachers, very effective teachers who can help students achieve. And in order to do that, early on in your program here, we want to make sure you have exposure to diverse learning environments. And one of those ways that we have learned to do that is through the use of a tool called simSchool. I'm just going to talk briefly with you about this product and why I support its use and why it is so important. Dr. David Collum has been conducting research, and I've been working with him, and we are continuing our research now, including other universities, which is very exciting work. I just want to talk to you about why we're doing this. There will be times throughout this semester when you're working with this product that you may be frustrated, or you may have technical difficulties, or you may think, I just want to be in a real classroom. We understand those challenges, and we understand that you will have those thoughts. Those are very normal thoughts. You're going to have plenty of opportunities to be in real class, to be in many real classrooms throughout your program here, not only in Field 1, Field 2, student teaching, but in your course-embedded field experiences. So we understand that this experience with simSchool is not to replace those face-to-face field experiences, but to give you an opportunity to engage with a diverse learning with many, many different kinds of students in a safe environment with this artificial intelligence. So with that said, one of the main reasons why I support our usage of simSchool and Dr. Collum's continued research in this area is because in many ways we have limited access to diverse learning environments. Depending on where you are, if you're at a regional learning center, perhaps you're in a rural area, you may not have access to a diverse learning environment. If you're on main campus, you may not have access to ELL, gifted, special ed, racial, ethnic diversities, all within your placements. So this product allows us to do that. The second reason is it is a wide variety of diversities within one classroom. Even if we could place you in a diverse school setting, you may not end up being in a diverse classroom. And so this allows you to engage and experience a wide variety of diversities. And finally, why I support the research is because I want to learn and make sure the validity and reliability of this product. And the cool thing, though, is over the last few years, through our research, we're learning best practices with this product here at MBU. We're learning what's working, what's not. We're adjusting. If this comes before or after face-to-face field experience, how are we utilizing this product with our regional learning centers? How does this coincide with our diversity class? We're learning that a face-to-face meeting is important with students early on. So we're tweaking this based on our research. So as the leader of the division, I think it's really important that if we're going to do something like this, we need to make sure that we're doing it with fidelity, and that when other institutions are conducting similar research, we can determine the best ways to use the product. So in a nutshell, guys, thank you for your patience. Thank you for working with us and Dr. Collum with this product. Have an open mind. I would like to ask you to have an open mind about the product. And I think that you will find that it's valuable and worth your time. In closing, I just want to read a few comments from some students who have participated in the simSchool before with us over the last, I believe these were students from last semester. One student said, simSchool helped me understand the types of tasks that I might assign to ELL, English Language Learner students, and the types of questions and statements that I might use. I discovered it was more effective to ask more simple questions and to stay away from higher level questions. It was also beneficial to check for understanding and provide examples. This student says this simulation was representative of students with exceptionalities as it pertained to their actions in the classroom. In real life, so this person must have had experience substituting or perhaps a paraprofessional. In real life, students who are not challenged in the classroom can manifest the same traits that I noticed in this sim. When not fully engaged, students will show boredom, behavior issues, and poor classroom interaction. So if students take this simulation seriously, one can notice these traits in a real classroom and be able to adjust accordingly. This student responded, simSchool did a great job in training me to understand the needs of students with different ethnicities. There was always a wide variety of ethnicity in the classrooms. Every student needed different types of teaching strategies to understand the material. This student said, simSchool did a fantastic job in helping me understand the needs of diverse learners. Comparing the online experience to real-life experience, I believe that simSchool hit it dead on. I was given different tasks and options to give students when trying to teach them. This is exactly like a real classroom. This student says, as a paraprofessional, I am lucky enough to be in the school setting every day. I have seen firsthand the interactions between teachers and their students. simSchool included many of the characteristics and behaviors between teachers and students. So I believe this was a good example for pre-service teachers to learn about diverse learners. And in closing, simSchool is good because student teachers can have experience and be acquainted with diversity without being in a real classroom and quote-unquote damaging real students because of a lack of knowledge and bad choices or bad choices. The simSchool is a good precursor to being in a real classroom. And again, we understand this is not a replacement for your real classrooms, but perhaps these are opportunities for you to experiment with how you might respond to a particular student. This is where you get to practice. And so for all of those reasons, guys, I hope you have a good experience with simSchool. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions. We will be happy to help you. Thank you.
You there, Marga?
I'm here.
Hang on just a minute. I'm putting something on the board.
All righty.
Based on our research over the last 4 years, normally when you go through what they call clinical experiences, field experiences, you would go observe in a classroom, just go sit there, observe. You wouldn't even know what the classroom was made up of. You wouldn't know if you were getting any diverse experience or any special, students with special needs or anything. You just went out and observed. So what we've done is we start with simulation. How many of you said that you had kids? Okay, do your kids, do they brush their teeth at night? Do they want to brush their teeth at night? Do you make them brush their teeth at night? Why? Because if they don't, you're going to have to pay a dentist bill I'm only checking. I know I told you guys you couldn't. I'm only checking because in case someone's lost. Okay. You make them do it because you're either going to have to pay a dental bill or something's going to happen to their teeth. Okay. simSchool is not the funnest simulation you can do. It's not a game. It's not gaming. It's a little more slower. It takes some getting used to. But we make you do it. We make you do it because we know that the results are there. Okay. So just keep that in mind. That's Dr. Bishop's speech that she would have given you if you were face to face. Okay. So that's just so you know that. But we start you with simulation now. That seems to be the best place to put it. Okay. Because what this program will do, if it does nothing else, it'll make you aware of all the diversity out in the classroom settings. That I guarantee you it will do. It'll make you understand that you need to differentiate your instruction. Okay. Then we go to field experiences. You field one, or you go out and you observe, but you really don't get to do anything with the students. Okay. And then your next field experience is to get some hands-on with the students. Okay. And then you end up by doing your students teaching. And we've actually adopted this philosophy here, and I hope to submit a paper to one of the educational conferences coming from this side of our research. We've come from a technology simulation side at our other presentations. Now we're going to start coming from a teacher prep university side on why we use it. Before I go any further, and we let Margaret start her training, lady over here waving her hand is Amy. Amy will be your TA that helps me grade, help me keep up to date, all that. And like I said, I'll go over what I expect from the classroom after we finish the training on the manual and stuff. But she has other responsibilities tonight that I just asked her to slip by and say hello. She's also an RA on campus. She has a twin sister named Emily. Fun facts, you know, so, but anyway, so Amy, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Okay, Marga.
Yes. You ready?
You are on training. Let me tell them which packet of info. They have the 50-something page packet that Robin put together. They are holding that, so they'll be able to follow you a little bit. Take notes if you need anything, but please pay attention. Do not tune her out. And here's the deal. At 7 weeks, you're going to be emailing me and asking for help, and I'm going to email back and say that was covered the first night. I probably wouldn't do that. I don't know that, but I would think it anyway. Okay. So please pay attention, because this is totally different than what we've done before, and it's totally made our lives a lot easier, which means if it makes my life a lot easier, it's going to make your life a lot easier. Okay? Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm Marka Ormsby, and my other little known and uninteresting fact, I guess, is that my business partner is also my sister, Robin Daniel, and we are both Tech Matters. We are an education technology consulting firm here in Atlanta, Georgia. First, I wanted to say that we are very excited about simSchool. We've been working with Dr. Collum now for the beginning of the second year, and we're very excited about the size of his research, and also to make it very clear that you are an extremely important part of this research, and you're one of the largest simSchool studies to date. The essential question, which is obviously, why are we using simSchool? Well, it's a simulation program that can give you some of the classroom management you need in terms of working with diverse and special needs students, which Dr. Collins already covered tonight. All right, this evening what we'll do is we'll take a brief tour of the simSchool manual, which is new this year. Robin Daniel and I worked on it this summer following the previous two semesters. So we have a lot of information we've gleaned over the course of last year. We'll also talk about how to register in simSchool. So if those of you who have your laptops, we'll be able to make some, hopefully get you registered this evening. And two more important points. One is to make sure you add Dr. Collins' course to your simSchool account, and that must be done for you to be able to access the MUSP modules in the course. So first, to get started, we've got the link here, and I believe, Dr. Collins, you've provided this in Canvas. Is that correct?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay. And when you first go in, you will need this password, which is MUSP, all caps, 2017. Once you input it once, unless you set your computer to, unless you get rid of, clear the cache or the history, you should not have to enter it each time. So let's go to the first page. This is the first page of the website, and the most important aspect for you will be student resources, as I've shown here. Scroll to the second part, and that will be the user manual. Once you enter your password, it'll take you to the table of contents. We're going to briefly go through the different sections so you have a feel for what's in there and what's expected. And also want to point out that below the table of contents, you have a number of appendices that you will need during the course of the semester. And all these are links, so you'd be able to go to them. They're either PDFs or online, which would allow you then to be able to get the material you need. Well, we'll start with the introduction. Some of that you've covered, and we've covered already, which is why you're here. Expectations that you will finish the course. You will do all the will do all the surveys and complete all the modules. And the reason for that is that the research is important, and we're working with simSchool. simSchool has provided licenses for all of you at no cost. And part of that is that we're looking forward to getting some of the research looking at some of the research that Dr. Collum is doing currently. I want to hit a couple of requirements here, largely because we've run into them in supporting students during the semesters. One, you're going to be doing online surveys with SurveyMonkey, and you're also going to be doing all your modules via the internet. It's critical that you have a reliable internet connection. And in that vein, you also need to use the preferred browsers, which are Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. We found that the browser Internet Explorer does not always work well with simSchool, so please don't use that browser. Videos, there will be videos throughout the course, and they'll be both on the website here and also in the assignment schedules that Dr. Collum provided and that we have online for you. The MUSP overview purpose obviously is to collect data, and the data that we're talking about here come in two major forms. One are the pre- and post-survey data that you provide from SurveyMonkey. These are outside of simSchool, but they're extremely important to the study. It's also vital that you complete these surveys both in the time frame requested and in sequence. Dr. Collum, I'm not sure whether you wanted to make a comment here, but wanted to make sure that everyone knew that this is essential.
Yes, when I tell you to do your pre-surveys, which were already out there, should actually have been done, you need to complete surveys 1 and 2, which is already in your Canvas shell within the next 24 hours, please. You're graded on those, as you'll find out. You receive a grade for completing them. That was the right way to put it. Yes.
So you said they'll be in Canvas?
The links are in Canvas right now.
Okay, because I just looked and I didn't see it.
They're on the announcements tabs.
Okay.
Okay. We'll talk about all that again as we come around. She mentioned that you need to understand, simSchool costs $50 a student. So there's 30 of you in here right now. That's about $1,500 worth that simSchool has given us. simSchool has given us in the last 4 years somewhere around $25,000 free access to simSchool. And they do that because we do the research and we present it to conferences. Okay, so it's vital that you take it seriously and do them on time so that the data means something. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's about 15 hours of time on the computer that you do. So you can't wait till week 7 on an 8-week class and finish. Okay, it will definitely give you anxiety attacks. Okay.
Okay, all righty. And then also, in addition to the SurveyMonkey pre and post surveys, you'll also be generating data within the simSchool modules. As you work through the simulations, the data are collected second by second, minute by minute. That data will be used, and that data is the data that you'll be looking at to assess your how well you did in a simulation. There will also be some surveys within the modules, and they need to be completed as well. And having worked with pre-service teachers, particularly those that are what I call type A's that really want to do well, when I was working with them, and the first thing they asked, are you going to look at my curves and give me a grade based on that? And the answer is no. The curves are there to give you feedback as to how well you're doing in that particular simulation. Dr. Collum will be giving you credit for the activities that you do in the time frame that he gives you. On back to the manual here, and again, this is outside of simSchool. This manual is to help you once you get into simSchool. For those of you who are interested, this is the data flow process. I won't go through it tonight, but it's there for your information. Okay, so why simSchool? You've just heard why, so I won't belabor that. The key point is that it's different from every other simulation program, and your interactions with the students are going to be interactions that allow you to look at the psychological and emotional effects you have on your students. Now, as we get ready, one of the key pieces of information that you need is the assignment schedules, and we have these on the website. As you can see, there are several of them in Dr. Collins' courses. I believe you have a 15-week, 15-week, 15-hour course on campus, and then the regional learning centers are the 8-week, 15 hours. So you have an assignment schedule for each, and if you click on it, you have access to some of the videos that we've talked about. You'll see them in other places on the web in secret.
Okay, here's the change from previously. Previously, when I posted the assignment grid in Canvas or the assignments in Canvas, the links here that are live was within Canvas. But they won't be that way when I post them tomorrow. I'll post the assignment grid, which we'll go over tonight. That's this thing right here. But you will click on that link that takes you to this. And you want to make sure that, like this is week 1. Normally, I would have put week 1 is 8:21 to 8:27. Week 2, 8:28 to whatever. We're not doing that today because this is going to 10 universities. So I'm assuming that you guys know what week 1 is and what week 2 date is and week 3 date is, okay? But everything's in here. Abstract consent form, that was basically that first question that said, I agree to participate, there's no risk to you. And then surveys 1 and 2, those links are actually in Canvas under the announcements. And then you just do it. And what we're going to talk about here is you want to do all these things in order. Okay? The more you do in order and the more of this week 1 stuff you do before you get to week 2 and start the modules, the better experience you'll have. Okay? But so we watch videos, Science Behind SimSchool, and actually when she gets to that little point, we're actually going to watch that video tonight because that's one of the most important videos in this entire thing.
That's right. Okay, so if you want to go from the assignment schedules, anytime you need to go back a screen, you can go to the browser back arrow, and that takes you to the previous screen. So we'll go back one more, and you can see we've talked about the assignment schedules. Now the reflection journals. There's some information here, and I'd like to make a point. The reflection journals, I think, are extremely important and more important than many people give it credit for. Whether or not you're teaching in the classroom currently or whether you're a pre-service teacher, one of the most critical things you can do when you're teaching is to try to approach and engage a student or students. And when you try something, you see if it works or it doesn't. It's great to note and say, well, this worked, this didn't, why? And it's a good way to learn because you're not just going to get your degree and go out and start teaching and quit learning. Every moment you're in the classroom, you're going to learn something new. So the reflection journals are a good tool to learn how to use while you're doing SimSchool because it gives you a chance to think back on what you've done and what you might do to improve. All right, section 5. This is probably one of the meat parts of the entire night tonight. It gives you the links to surveys 1 and 2.
When do we watch the Science Behind SimSchool video?
If you want to do it now, we can.
I can't remember, when did we do it last night?
On section 6.
Then we'll wait till section 6.
Okay. We'll come back to this screen because we're going to be registering in SimSchool and we're going to be adding the MUSP course. So why don't we move on to section 6. Let's see, we have section 6. Really what we're saying is that in learning SimSchool, the best way to do it is to actually get in and start working with it. And section 6 gives you a chance to, actually it's not here, David, I apologize, I'll find it in a moment. But basically, you will...
Back at section 4, I think.
I think you're right. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that because I think it will mean more here if we go ahead and cover that. I know it's in the assignment schedule.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and do that.
Hi, I am Anita Learn. My
Whoops.
students went to lunch, so I have a few minutes to go over the science behind simSchool. In simSchool, there are 4 components to a teaching experience. We will identify ways teachers observe students in simSchool. We will examine how a teacher interacts with students, and how the tasks they assign and teacher talk impact student learning. We will identify the components of sim students' personalities. Lastly, we will explore how student outcomes are produced. Let's take a look at each of these components and explore how teacher and student interactions impact students in simSchool. Student behaviors are observable variables. Body postures and verbal responses give clues to a student's internal state. Looking at the body postures in this class tells me some students are not paying attention. If the class is not paying attention, then that means the teacher needs to make some adjustments. Because student learning is a teacher's responsibility. First, let's look at another observable variable. Verbal responses from students also reflect their internal states. We have seen how body postures and verbal responses give clues to the internal state of the students. Now, let's see what teachers can do to impact student learning. What teachers do in the classroom are independent variables. Some teacher decisions impact everyone in the class, and other decisions only impact a single student. The teacher can interact with students in 2 ways. First, they can develop tasks, and second, they can talk to students. How well a student performs on a task can depend on the type of task selected, student time on a task, and the order of tasks. Teacher talk, using questions, observations, or assertions about academic or behavioral issues, allows teachers to interact with students. Short tutorials on task selection and teacher talk will explain more on how to individualize instruction and adjust student learning. We have seen how teachers observe and interact with students. Next, let's explore how student personalities are created in simSchool and how those personalities impact learning. Learning characteristics of students come from a student's personality. A student's personality is a hidden variable. There are 3 aspects of a student's personality. The physical dimensions of the personality are represented by the VAK model, or visual. Visual students prefer learning experiences with pictures and graphs. Auditory. These students prefer to learn through listening to information or music. And kinesthetic learning preferences. Kinesthetic learners like movement and hands-on learning. The second aspect of a sim student's personality is the 5-factor model of personality. It is also referred to as the ocean model because it is an acronym for each of the 5 factors. The O in ocean stands for the characteristic of openness. Students who exhibit openness are inventive and curious. Those on the other end of the spectrum of openness are consistent and cautious. Conscientious students are efficient and organized, whereas students who are less conscientious tend to be more easygoing and somewhat careless. The characteristic of extroversion demonstrates someone who is outgoing and energetic. If you are at the other end of the spectrum, you may be considered to be introverted or more solitary and reserved. With all of these personality traits, students can be at the low end of the spectrum, the high end of the spectrum, or somewhere in between. Agreeable people are friendly and compassionate. However, people who are not agreeable can be cold and unkind. The characteristic of neuroticism is reversed in simSchool. Typically, if you are high in neuroticism, you have sensitive and nervous tendencies. Emotional stability is the opposite end of the spectrum and demonstrates a secure and confident person. In describing sim students, we look at how emotionally stable they are, so the high end of the spectrum is emotional stability, and the low end is neuroticism. The 5 traits make up the simSchool students' personalities. Research has shown that personality is an important component in a student's willingness to perform. The third aspect of this sim student's personality is the cognitive dimensions of academic and language proficiency. This is the expected academic performance of a student. A teacher can view the academic and language proficiency of a student by reading the background reports. The background report can be found by clicking on the computer screen in your classroom. A class roster will appear with all of the students you are currently teaching. In this simulation, there is one student. A student's personality profile is composed of the 5-factor model of personality. The text describes students. For example, this student is willing to go along with new experiences, rather than referring to the actual personality trait of openness. Teacher reflections refer to observations of teachers that describe how they believe the student learns best. This information is helpful when individualizing instruction. Language proficiency describes how well the student can read, write, and speak the English language. This is very important information when working with ELL students. Finally, the academics are the student's previous grades from all subject areas. A helpful tip: simSchool assumes all students want to learn. So whatever a student's background report states, stay positive, because all students desire to learn. So let's summarize. Student personality is composed of 9 dimensions. 5 are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. The 3 dimensions of the VAK model, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learning preferences, make 8. Language proficiency and academic performance are combined into the dimension of expected academic performance. So, there you have the 9 dimensions of student personality. Now that we have seen how sim student personalities are created, let's explore student outcomes that result from various types of student learners. Student outcomes are how the students respond to the other variables. The teacher's observations of the student's behavior that consists of body language and verbal responses helps the teachers decide what to do in the classroom, what tasks to select, and how to talk to the students. Students' personalities composed of the VAK model, 5-factor model, and academic performance are directly related to the way a student reacts to learning. That brings us to the student outcomes, or how well students learn. This information in simSchool is recorded in a feedback report that teachers can view after the simulation. This is an example of a feedback report. It records moment-by-moment activity during the classroom simulation. Notice the color-coded lines on the graph. Each color represents a personality trait. The red line represents academic outcomes. This student did not excel academically in the tasks to review last week's lesson, take an oral quiz, and take notes in a lecture. If you look at the blue line, you can see that the student's persistence throughout the task improved. Persistence aligns with the personality trait of conscientiousness. The intellect, or openness, improved as well at the end of the oral quiz and during the note-taking. From the feedback report, teachers can decide how to adjust the lesson to improve academic performance. Could the student learn more if the lesson was longer, shorter, more hands-on, more student-centered? These are questions you may consider before making adjustments to a simulation to improve academic performance. This is a very short introduction to a feedback report. To learn more, watch the tutorial on feedback reports. Oh, it looks as if my students are back from lunch. So I need to get back to my classroom. This tutorial reviewed the science behind simSchool. The variables of simSchool were discussed. In a nutshell, teachers observe student behaviors, create tasks, and talk to students. Through this interaction, teachers can learn more about the emotional, physical, and cognitive dimensions of students. If you know about a student's personality, learning preferences, and academic history, you can better plan activities, projects, and lessons to engage students in learning. This produces better student outcomes. After all, to be an effective teacher means our students are learning.
Yeah, that was a good place to put that.
Okay, let me cover a few things real quick.
Okay.
How many of you said you had children?
I need your attention.
I'm sorry.
I
Do
think
they,
you are on track.
do they have the same
I don't think
personality?
you get it. These are just a few of the comments available to teachers to interact with students in simSchool.
Hang on just a
This
moment.
tutorial is on how to use Teacher Talk.
Sorry about that.
Do they have the same personality? No. How many of you have siblings? Did you have the same personality? No. I actually, my wife and I got introduced to personalities by Dr. Romes at some conferences we went to, and we took personality tests, and we're definitely on the opposite. She has to plan everything. She's very a perfectionist. No spontaneity. Everything needs to be planned. Me, if we need to change something right now, if we decide we wanted to go somewhere else, and we would go. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm a little more outgoing, that type thing. And I actually, when I taught in the high schools, secondary schools, first week of class, I gave 2 surveys: the Marsh learning style, to see what kind of learning style students had, whether they were visual, auditory, or whatever, and also the personality survey. And I'd ask them, we'd talk about the traits of each personality, and I'll say, do you think it's important to know what my personality is? Oh, no, not really. And I say, well, what if you're that person that's the dominant person, and you always want the last word? And I can tell you, I'm probably that person too. So let's say we're carrying on a conversation and we disagree or something, and you're the student and you think you need the last word, and I'm the instructor and I know I'm going to have the last word. This could escalate quite into a bad situation. Or if 2 kids, if you've ever been in a classroom, some of you are, kids are amazing. They'll start out with just playing with one another, and the next thing you know, they'll be fighting. I've watched it happen. It's amazing. Now, that's probably that way too. So personalities are really, really important. And if you really understand that, you can really, when they talk about and they teach in these classrooms, you really need to build a relationship with your student. Let me caution you on one thing. When our teachers here, and we've heard that now for, I guess, the last 5 or 6 years or so in the classrooms. And I've watched young teachers, fresh out of their student teaching, come into a classroom and they try to build a relationship with students by being their friends. Now, let me tell you something. Students will sell you out in a heartbeat. They don't need friends. They need people that understand them. That's what it means to build a relationship with them. Understand them. But you can't be friends and buddy-buddy. Okay, so you need to understand the difference, and there is a fine line. So it's important. simSchools can simulate 1.6 million different students through the artificial intelligence built into it. That's why it's an incredible program, incredible tool. Okay, go ahead, Marga.
Okay, now we'll go back to section 6, which will make a little bit more sense now that you've seen the science behind simSchool. It's what you're going to do in one of your first, one of your first exercises is to take the personality test, the Barsh learning style, to actually see what your variables are. And then in simSchool, you will create yourself, and then you'll teach yourself, and then you'll then you'll see how well you did, and you could be able to get a feel for how simSchool operates. So in each one of these, we won't go through each one tonight, but you have more videos that help you. This is where the science behind simSchool is. Teacher Talk, which started talking while Dr. Collum was. But if you work your way through these sections in order, it should give you the information you need as you need it. Now, once you complete the teaching yourself, you will start moving into the multi-university, the MUSP modules.
Let me interrupt you one more time.
Sure.
This Create Your simSchool yourself as a simSchool student teaching started last fall. And it has become one of the most interesting reflections and discussion posts. The first discussion post is to reflect on creating yourself as a sim student. We've had quite a few students have figured out why they were so bad in high school and how mean they were and how difficult they were to teach, and now they understand. It's really a self-reflecting, eye-opening experience when you try to teach yourself. And then I had some people have said, yep, that's just like me, just like I was. So, but it's a really interesting thing. When you take your ocean survey, you're going to get a number back in your results. And if you notice on those things, when you create yourself, there's a sliding scale. And where you move that sliding scale on academics or ocean, you know, those oceanists or whatever the first those are, is you use those numbers from those surveys to just make that sliding bar represent yourself. And there's a video on that you watch. Everything you need to do, that's what she said. Everything that you need to do, and in the order you need to do it, is either has a PDF or a video for you to follow. Okay? Okay.
Right. I think one thing I want to follow up on, Dr. Collum, which I think is important, the sliding scales are not an exact number. And so when you get the numbers from the BAR survey or the ocean or the 5-factor survey, they have numbers. And as you see from the videos we have on how to take those, you get a general idea. So even though there's a number, but the number may say, well, that means you're in the about 30% of the people who see things a certain way. So don't get too caught up on the specific numbers. Just think about them in terms of where they are relative to.
Students, on your ocean survey, if you get a 25 back, just use a scale roughly of 0 to 50. And if you get a 25 or a 30, just slide it in there in that percentage range. And that'll get you close to yourself.
Okay. So once you finish the simulating yourself and teaching yourself, then, as we said, you'll be moving into the MUSP modules. Now, we have a caution banner up here because we can't say this and we can't stress this enough. Once you have the modules associated with your My Courses in simSchool, which you'll see tonight, you want to make sure that when you're attempting to do the modules that you go to them through the My Courses. We've had some students go into the simSchool library tab and have found some of the courses, but you won't get credit for it because we won't have the record of the simulation that you did. So that's just a caution. You'll see what we're talking about as we move forward. So a little terminology here. What are simulations? What is the course? Basically, you're working with a multi-university course, which are made up of a sequence of modules. And those modules are nothing more than simulations with various instructions included. So your course then will be a sequence of modules as you work through them.
Let me explain something about that sequence and we'll talk about it. There's 9 simulations, I believe. 8 of them, 10 simulations. 9 of them you teach 3 times in a row. So it's like you were teaching a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class of the same students. So you start out like the first class is Language Learning Lab. So on Monday you'll teach, I think it's either 5 or 6 students, is how they're designed. You'll teach that set of students. There'll be built-in tasks and things that you can assign. And you'll learn how to do that. Then you'll go back, you'll look at your results, and you'll go back and you'll teach them again, the same students again. Okay? And then you'll teach them a 3rd time. There's one thing in that report that you get at the end called teacher effectiveness. That's a number on how effective the computer thinks you did teaching those students. Okay? Sometimes you'll get a 0%. Sometimes you'll get a 40, sometimes you'll get a 60. You're not graded on that percentage. So you guys that are so grade conscious, some of you perfectionists at my wife, just chill out. That's just for you to help yourself learn. So that's what this is about. And then there's like 5 different ones on diversity. And then you get to anywhere high school. We've thrown 18 simulation students in there. It's a classroom just like if you walked out into the city today, you would see, okay, or Lindbergh, you would see this diverse type students in your classroom. A total eye-opening experience for you to reflect on. And then we've added a literacy module, a classroom management module, and a differentiated instruction module to go along with those. So that's sort of how this is set up. Okay. Okay.
Alrighty. Tips for success. I'm going to make note of a couple here because I think it's important that you really consider as you're walking through these when you launch a module that you be sure that you read all the instructions. I believe Dr. Collin mentioned earlier it's more effective if you have all the information in front of you. And as you work through the modules, some will have tasks and student profiles that were alluded to in the video. And in the appendices here, you can see at the bottom all the learning. This is the student profiles, and these are the learning tasks.
Yeah, open them up. Open up this one. Like for the language learning lab, this is your students in here. This is the personality profiles for each of your students. Okay, Ariana, her academics, what the teachers think. All this is there for each of your students, and it's always good to print these out or at least read them beforehand. And then this is your profiles. This is your personality profiles. This is like if you're in a real class and you began the year and you're supposed to be able to have access to your students' records so that you can learn about your students. This is sort of what that is. Now give me a task.
Alrighty.
These are the corresponding tasks that you can do. simSchool has 4 different type tasks that you can give within each simulation. A recall test, skill contest, strategic thinking, extended thinking. Low level, high level. Are any of you familiar with Bloom's hierarchy? One of the documents in these resources actually do a comparison. Recall is like depth of knowledge 1. Okay. And then your extended thinking is like your analytical synthesizing and that type of thing. So once you learn this, you know if you're in an English language learning lab, then maybe the task to give might not be an extended thinking assignment. Okay. Okay. So you want to look at that and know those. The more you know before you get in. Each module has a set of tasks. You can't put in your own task, okay, until module 33. Okay.
All right, that's very good. Let's go on to the capstone project now. That is the culmination of all the work you'll be doing throughout the semester. And one of the things that we want to make sure that you understand is that this one's different from all the other modules in as much as you're going to be using the information. You're going to be using your experience to do this. Now, if you wait to the last minute, 2 things. 1, you're not going to be able to do this module very effectively. 2, and most importantly, you won't have gotten the benefit of the experience of working your way through and learning and building on each module. So the capstone project is important, and the instructions are here on the website. We ask that you use these instructions instead of the ones in the opening page of the module. So make a note of this when you get ready to do module 33, that you come to the website and print this out or have it with you so that you know how to proceed. Most of you are going to want to know what happens if I have a problem, and we will face problems. That's not an uncommon occurrence. We can avoid some of them. I've got a few of the common support issues here. One, talked about earlier, don't use Internet Explorer. The internet connection. In one of the schools that I was in a university, and we actually had the students use a cable to plug into the network because the Wi-Fi was intermittent and it didn't matter most of the time. But the fact that you're online doing SimSchool and the data is being collected continuously online, you can't have an interruption. Otherwise, it can throw you out of the application or it won't take the data. So be sure you have
And you'll email me, Dr.
Yes.
Collum, 2 minutes and it kicked me out. Dr. Collum, I spent another 20 minutes, it kicked me out. Something must be wrong with the module. 4 years, thousands of students, it's never tracked back to the module.
It's usually, it can be an internet. Yep.
The worst place to run SimSchool is here on campus. We're on your campus. Why? Even though IT tells us we have great Wi-Fi, SimSchool sometimes doesn't like it. So if you get frustrated and that's happening, 99.99% of the time, it's not SimSchool modules. It's the internet connection or your Wi-Fi or something like that, or your browser. I mean, every once in a while we'll find a problem with a module. Sometimes the students that have used Internet Explorer and got it to work a couple of times have actually infected a couple of modules with viruses, and we have to throw them out and create another one. So just don't use that one at all.
Okay, and then the problems launching app simulations, I think most of that's going away. It's here for your reference, but we won't go into that tonight. Now, if you have a problem, first and foremost, when you're taking your surveys with SurveyMonkey, that is not associated with SimSchool. And if you have any problems, fill out this notification form below. This is on the support page of the web. Usually the person Robin Daniel is the one who handles most of those trouble reports, since she's the SurveyMonkey guru in the household. SimSchool problems, if you're in the application itself and you're having a problem, first contact is SimSchool support. You'll find them by scrolling to the bottom of the screen, and there is a selection that you can select, and then when you tell them what your problem is, please be as specific as you can. Just don't say it's just something's not working, because then we have to get back to you and it's back and forth, and we're not very efficient that way. In many cases, we're finding students who provide screenshots of the problem, or as I've done on occasion, you take your cell phone and take a picture of it if you don't have another way to do it. And if you provide that to us, we can go a lot farther, a lot faster in fixing your problem. If you haven't heard from SimSchool support in 24 hours or so, come back here and go ahead and fill out this form, and that sends a notice to Robin Daniel, to me, and to Dr. Collum, so we'll know if you're having any difficulties. So I believe we do have one more, section 10, which is other resources. We have some supplemental videos. There's a training tutorial done by Stacy Cruz at SimSchool.
Yes, there's a step in your assignment grid that you have to watch this video. So make sure you make a note where it is. It is a 1-hour video. It is the original video. It's probably the best video that explains really what we're trying to do with our modules and the tasks and the behaviors. It's actually more specific to this, but it was created in 2014. So it's a little bit, you have to sort of go with the flow, but you do need to watch that video. Okay.
Yes, very, very helpful. Okay, let's see. I think at this point, do we want to continue on? And I've got the support information up here. I've got the link to the manual. We've already covered this, but I've also included the course codes this time, Dr. Collum, if you want to go ahead.
Oh, you're so great. You're so great.
So let's go ahead and we're going to register. We're going
to go back to the course code. Katie's gonna write those numbers on the board real quick for us. Hold them right there till we get them. And students, if you can read them now, if you're in DMA, you're that YZYQXMGHPY. You're gonna need that in just a few minutes. Or later tonight if you don't have your simSchool. If you're an 8-week class, Regional Learning Center, PIG backwards, PGI, BZEKEAN. That's going to be your course code. Now, what I want you to do is, you need to stretch just a minute or so, set up. But the ones of you that have your laptops, you need to get them out now and get ready to sign up for register for simSchool. If you don't have your laptops, you just want to make sure that you sort of take notes as we go. But they will be videos to walk you through this if you don't have it with you, okay?
Yeah, Dr. Cohen, do you want me to go ahead and play the video of how to register in simSchool?
Yeah, play it first, and then we talk about the differences. Go ahead and play that, and then we'll while we're sort of taking a break here.
One code. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what Ms. Learn has to say.
Hi, my name is Anita Learn. Welcome to simSchool. During this video, I will show you how to register for simSchool. Make sure you are at this website at simschool.org and click register. Look at the account type and choose the third one down, Student Enhanced Access. Although it shows that the cost is $50 per year, you will not be charged any fees. Now, just click register. Complete the form by filling in the requested information.
Stop. Make sure you use your university email when you register.
And answer the questions using the check boxes. Look for and select your university from the drop-down menu. Finally, complete the verification by selecting the images of the item requested. In this case, click all the video cameras. Then click Register. You are almost done. Please complete the short survey of teaching skills. Click all the boxes and then click Submit. Your account is registered. The last step is to confirm your registration with your email.
Stop. Check your university email for simSchool confirmation.
Go to your email account and you will have received an email from simSchool. Click on the link in the email. Your registration is now complete. You are ready to log into simSchool.
Now, you saw that it said pick your version enhanced. You won't see that. They changed their screen over here when you log in. Everybody go to simschool.org. Yes.
What's the Y sign here? Spartan's capital S.
SPARTANS, no one anymore, right? Just
No,
Spartans.
just.
Okay. Give us just a minute and let us get everybody logged in to our Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Okay. But if you go to simschool.org, this is the page you're going to come to. Okay. And then when you get there, a lot of people last night messed up and they clicked this "You Liberty Students." Click here. You're not Liberty students.
That's right. Right.
You may want to be liberated from us, but you're not Liberty students. So when you get in here, you're going to click Register for simSchool right there. So if you're in, go ahead and click that. And this is what you're going to begin to see. So you're going to fill this out. In education, or enrolled as a student, yes. What is your role in there? You guys are pre-service teachers. Now, please select your institution. You must do it from the drop-down menu. And we're in there. Missouri Baptist University is in there. You don't need to worry about that. Institutional type, K-12.
No, you're
Sorry,
you're
higher education.
Yeah, your higher education. Yeah.
How did you hear about simSchool? It's actually, other input class, something like that. And then click, I guess you click register next.
Mhm.
But at some point, you're gonna have to pick all those pictures and things. If you don't get them all, if it says pick everything that looks like a camera, and you don't pick them all, it's gonna throw you out, and we're probably gonna have Stacy fix it for you. But go ahead and get through that, and then we'll go around and we'll look at your screens when we get there and see if you're gonna have to take a survey when you get that far. Go ahead and work your way to the survey until you get your email back.
Higher ed, yeah. Make sure you use your school email, like your digits and then at moment. And then other, and then just write like your class. Okay. Are you in?
What are your roles in education?
Have you already like?
What were we supposed to put for our role in education? Was it pre-service teacher, researcher?
Yes, pre-service teacher.
After you hit register, submit, you'll use that survey, and then you have to go to your MOBAT page. Did you run all these instructions down? Yeah.
Now, when you go back in, after you do the survey, and you get your email,
Yeah.
and you go back in and you sign in, you should see this page when you sign in. This is after you've registered and gone back in from your email. You should get to that page when you go back into your course.
I'm sorry, that was, you probably just said that was before or after you do that.
No, you're.
After you get your email, and you have to confirm.
That's after. so-
You good? She's one used for everything.
Just what?
Said use something to use for everything.
Yeah, just because you put school.
With your last name or something.
Okay, and then that one's us.
Don't make a password that you can't remember like Dr. Collins does. Sort of like when I put stuff up so I don't forget so I won't forget where I put it. I have never found anything that I've put up so I wouldn't forget where I put it in my life. Matter of fact, I put something up that I needed to work on my fish
Okay, so
tank
you're good, so just sit there.
a couple of weeks ago. I have no idea. Katie, this is your job to make sure everybody gets signed in, not mine.
Yeah, my eyes are on
You
the
know.
screens.
Your vibes or whatever.
Yeah, I got it. I'm feeling it out. Feel good, man.
She's also pretty crazy.
Did you ever know?
I'm not the one involved in that.
Oh, yeah. I just-
Once you click that,
No,
the link from your email, it literally just
That's
brings you back to the
it's
same
still
screen.
low.
Looks really confusing, but you can sign in from there.
I knew you were gonna be.
Oh, I'm gonna be, yeah, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I knew it. When we met on Tuesday, I knew everybody was in trouble.
Yeah. I'll be one of those that pretends like he knows what's going on.
So like I was, sooner or later, you're gonna have to know.
The Wi-Fi.
I know, we're gonna delay that if we can.
Okay, so you should be.
Okay, how many of you are actually in and made it through your email part and have this, come back and have this screen? Anybody made it this far yet?
Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Yeah, you can.
If you have everybody made it to the point where you have to do the survey? Everybody made it to that point?
I just have a question. Is your username your?
Your email.
You probably already said that sometimes, I'm sorry.
He did.
I'm one of those people.
It's fine, it was
I can't
yesterday.
listen and do at the same time.
How we doing? Now, I said y'all were meaner looking the other class. Now, last night, everybody had their laptop got in. Y'all not gonna let me down tonight, are you? Except over here in the corner, and we're just gonna set him out in the room if it gets to be too much of a problem.
You can exit on those steps. Yeah, that's, right where you need to be.
Did you have to?
Y'all see what's wrong with him.
I have been watching it the whole time.
Well, I got signed in.
Yeah, you just log in, yeah. I'm good. It's like super confusing. Yeah, if it'll, when you click that link, I don't even think it does anything.
So we gotta.
6 bars, all right, 6
Still
bars.
not
6 bars, 6 bars, 6 bars.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't.
I'm just gonna cross my legs.
You line back here is just the same.
Yeah.
Not the way you listen, I wouldn't.
What's that?
I said, not the way you listen, I wouldn't.
Hey, I would've heard it.
Yeah. Okay, so really, in that packet, on the, I don't know if you guys wrote that website down, but, all of your information, like everything, that whole thing that she went through is all on that website. It's like MUSP, she doesn't have to change your password, but your resources, everything is on there. Like, when he goes over, don't.
How we doing?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do with this year here? It just tells me like step one, didn't help me. Just exit out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was about to say I logged in and everything.
Yeah, there you are, right there. Call them.
It's more when you actually do the simulation.
Okay. For you, you're gonna have to go down to the support on the bottom of the page. Find the one that says support. Hit it. Send them a message saying that you were trying to log in for Dr. Collins' class. And it says you have an error because they're going to have to reset it. Actually, you're logged in, but it thinks you're not there. That happens about 1 out of 200 times. So just type in a message right here. Just tell them your name, that you're in Dr. Collins' class at Missouri Baptist University. You got an error, can they reset it for you? And Stacy may still be there. They're in California.
When she did this presentation, I used that student resource that she went through. You have to have a password. It'll say password, and it's not your one for simSchool. It's MUSP 2017, and the MUSP has to be all caps. So.
Marga, I think everybody into the 6 screens. Everybody get there. We've got one person that has to email Stacy.
Right.
To get her to reset it.
Okay. Is everyone else at this stage?
We got 1 or 2 more. Hang on, give us about another 5 minutes.
Did you already?
Have y'all played your first game, football game yet?
Yes, sir.
How'd y'all do?
We won 63 7.
Who'd you play?
St. Vincent's out of area.
Who you played this weekend?
This place.
And if it says save your password, hit absolutely forget that. Still good. No one.
Okay, let's move. When you get to this point, let me point out a couple of things. Library is where you can search for practice things. Now that we have the profiles and the tasks built in, you probably have no need to go into the library. Sometimes in the past, people have gone to the library. You can find some of these modules in the library. They've worked them through the library. You will not get credit for anything done that way. Okay? My profile, you don't really need to worry about. My Sims, you'll need to use that for when you create yourself as a student. Sim Creator, when you click on Sim Creator, you can create a sim, create a task, create a student. That's where you're going to work on that other module. But My Courses, everybody click on My Courses. Now, this won't show up for you. What's going to show up at the bottom of your page, down in the bottom right, click My Courses. You went in the wrong way.
I did, because I did just.
Yep, you went in as a trial instead of
You guys go.
a thing. So you'll need to go start all over, go all the way out,
Sweet.
and start all over. Okay? When you class down, you'll see at the bottom right-hand page of that, when you click My Course, it says Add Section. So if you click on Add Section, that's where you're going to add one of these two section codes. If you're a Regional Learning Center or EMA Main, EMA, your 8-week course, you use this one. If you're on campus, Tuesday and Thursday at noon, you're going to use this access code. There they are on the screen. Margaret, after they get this far, I want you to go in and find the course and click on, click into, it doesn't matter if you pick the 8-week or the 15-week. I just want you to go into simSchool Live and pick one of those so that we can show what they're going to see in their course.
Okay. Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah, go ahead and find one now so that we can.
Matter of fact, we might see.
Yeah, if you go to the 8-week one, we can actually see who already signed up.
Yep, 15 and 8. See, we've got 11 and 14.
Okay, we've got 12 of you are made it into the main, and 11 of you are made it into the RLC. So that's 25. That means about 5 or 6 of you, 7 of you are not in yet, which may mean you don't have your computer here tonight, or you messed up something and. Something like that unintentionally, or you're smiling over here. Did you ever get in?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, now when you get into your section, go open one of them, Marga. Open Main will be okay.
Okay, Main.
Yeah, click on Main. Okay, when you see this, you won't see everybody.
Right.
You'll only see yourself. Where is Abigail?
Let me see.
Abigail could have been last night. This is all your modules, okay? Now this doesn't allow them to launch. Go back up to the top of the page. Go back one, okay? This is your course content, but you'll be able, it'll say launch module.
Right. It's a little different. Let me go in as me. Let me end it because I'm in the test bed. So hang on just a moment.
And you can launch the module. You can run the module. You can save the module and come back. Once you finally submit it, it's going to go in. And we're going to talk. We're about done. Margaret's about done with her part. And then I'm going to go back and we're going to look at it from the class.
Yeah, here are the modules.
Yeah. This is what you're gonna see. There's an introduction module to simSchool that we just put in. It's a practice module. Getting started with simSchool, you can do as many times as you want to, anytime you want to. But once you click and start on MUSP 01, they must be done in order. Hit launch, Marga.
On that one?
Yeah. It tells you some things that you need to do before playing. Some supporting resources and things. This task language learning PDF is in that where we showed you to pull those the other day. Simulation activities, things that you can do. Then you hit begin.
Guess what? I already have one running somewhere.
Well, shame on you.
Yeah. And that's and actually that is one thing that will happen. So let me make sure I have everything else closed out. Let's try that again. Actually, I went to the first one this time.
Now this is what your classroom's going to look like. Okay. Here's your 2 students. You're going to hit play. There are going to be some things pop up down here. All that about how to do this is in these other resources, and especially that 1 hour long video. Okay, but this is sort of what it looks like. You can pause the game, you can play the game, hit stop, exit and resume later, restart, resume section, complete module. Okay. Martha, go back to one that's already been completed, another course, and pull me up a PDF document.
You mean one that we have a report on?
Pick another one of my courses that, a summer course, a fall course, something that has a PDF document already done. Maybe you've done one that has a PDF document.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean in terms of what the summary looks like?
Yeah, click report, not the summary, the report. Okay, sim reports, click on sim reports, click view session. That's just what you guys, download PDF.
And in
download PDF, just the purple button at the bottom.
Yeah. Before you do that, before you view any reports, you want to make sure you select the students. And then you can generate a PDF.
Now, this is your report. Now, here's the difference in you guys in the past. I don't know if they looked at their reports or not. But I want you guys to look at these reports. Go back up a little bit. This is the teacher. This is your type of task, your conversation styles. You'll have information here. It'll say something like you talk to males and females equally. You talk to African Americans most. That's the type of diversity information the program gives you. And then this is the teacher effectiveness. Scroll on up a little bit. Line that what we're talking about. Be anywhere in here. So you look at that, scroll down, keep going. And here's those lines by student. Keep going. Look at those for your individual students. See what you're going to do next. Keep going. And then when you get to this stuff, just scroll down as fast as you can to get to it. Till you get to these. These are what we call circumflex graphs. What you're looking at, these are male and females. These are your different ethnicities. And you look at your quadrants. First quadrant, right up here, trusting and warm. Down here, you're sociable. You don't want to be over here, hostile, cold, mistrusting. So that it captures that information by how you respond. Your conversation averages are spread out between multiple quadrants, indicating bias towards certain students. Okay, going up. You speak to females and males equally. No, yeah, there we go. Keep going, a little further. You speak to Asians the least. Now here's how it talks. It breaks it down a little bit. You can see how you display. I've been trying to analyze the data for 4 years, and I've seen the raw data. I haven't quite figured out how they get all these. They just look pretty.
Yeah.
The one before it is pretty good. But I want you to learn how to look at this before you do it, you teach again. Okay? And I really want you to promise me that you will do the best you can and take it very seriously. Because the data from this year's data will be used to try to get a $500,000 grant. Okay. Now, I don't know how to emphasize to you, most of you don't care about research, you just want to get a CR credit for the class. But you don't really understand how important this research we're doing is for free service teachers in universities across the nation. If you're up in Wyoming, Montana, and the accrediting body especially wants you to make sure that you're good with all ethnicities, it's pretty hard to get all of them. When you're up there and you might only have 100 students in a high school and you have 100,000 miles of territory you're looking at. So this is very important. We're trying to get enough money for a grant to build a Native American situation in here. It does not have that built into it yet. So anyway, Marga, do you have anything to close out with?
I don't think so, other than just good luck. I hope you have a wonderful experience. And if you have any trouble, let us know. The manual is new. There may be some little things that need to be fixed. So if you find anything, please let us know.
Thanks a bunch. Great job again.
Great. Looking forward to working with you.
Okay, I'm leaving you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
If I can figure out how to make this come back now, to leave your,
The arrows. The middle top.
where?
Those arrows point out.